in a lot of in the interviews that you see that he did, and there's a few of them. There's not a lot, but there's a few. And in everything that you read about him, I found him incredibly opaque, I guess, and that was fascinating because Elvis was so out there and so much the kind of polar opposite in so many ways, and yet his dad was this kind of extremely reserved, very private domain. And talking to Baz about it, it was like, well, how are we going to unpick that? How are we going to shed light on not only what he was, but what his relationship with Elvis was? Father, married to Gladys, and we're introduced to him in the film at an early concert of Elvis's called The Hayride. And we see these very poor people. They were very poor, they were dirt poor. People gathering around Elvis to kind of buoy him up before he goes in to do a concert, because Elvis is absolutely terrified. And so it's quite beautiful. You see this family sort of holding hands and singing a gospel song to buoy him up. And so in that moment, you get an interesting, fascinating insight into their otherness and also their closeness, their connectedness to Elvis. Didn't quite know enough about it when I was reading it at that point to know about the story of the Colonel. And so to see Baz's using the Colonel as a way in, as a sort of prism to unfold the story of Elvis was terrific, because through that there's a kind of bent and twisted, fantastic carnival thing. It's because he's the carnival operator. He's a kind of great showman. And in a way, Baz kind of loves that character. There was it's very much like the character that Jim Broadbent played, in a sense, in Moulin Rouge. But of course, the Colonel based on an actual historical figure, and a fascinating one. So it's a great way into the telling of the Elvis stories. Oh my God, I mean, this poor, whoever's going to be playing that, this poor human, because talk about shoes, wow. And then when the first time I saw Austin's work as Elvis, we were doing a scene in Las Vegas, which is quite late in the piece. And so we didn't really know, I'd seen what he looked like. I thought, wow, that's a very good approximation. Then he came on stage, and then he started singing live, so not syncing. And all of us were just kind of like our eyebrows were blown off our faces. I mean, the man is astonishing, and he's also a total, like an absolute delight of a human being. So all of that is really particular, like really extraordinary. I think, I've been just, I'm in awe of his achievement. Big guy, bald guy, sitting outside in a sort of, singlet and shorts, eating his lunch. And I was like, "G'day, mate," and kept walking. And as I was walking away, I thought, I believe that was Tom Hanks, because, he was obviously bald. He had his bald wig on, he had his double chins on. I thought he was just like a part of Tom's security detail or something. So, number one, remarkable, like the distance between Tom and that character is really something. And he, never a word of complaint, because this is a person who has to come to set 3.5 hours before everybody else and get all of that on. So you think all of the stories that you hear about, Tom Hanks, nicest guy in Hollywood, it's kind of true, First and foremost, working with Baz is always going to be fun, because he's there on the day in Technicolor, always. He's never there. He never has an off day. He's always there. He's always got an idea. He's the most kind of rapacious director I have ever worked with in my life, in the sense that if the shot reads, and you just read it, they drive up to the front of Graceland in a pink Cadillac. And you get there on the day, you shoot the scene, like it takes ages, you know, they're setting up lights, it's all these gigantic things. You shoot the scene, we drive up the front of Graceland. Cut, he comes running over, brilliant, I loved it. I loved it so much that now I think we should get out of the car and walk to the steps. And roll cameras, action, and you do it again. You get out of the car, walk up the steps. Cut, I love it. I love it so much. Let's walk up the steps and this time go to the door. And do it again, you go to the door. Cut, I love it. Go through the door. Go into the house, and it's like people saying, well, the house isn't, we can't shoot inside. I know, just, so he's like, more. I just love it so much, give me more. So that's my kind of, that's pretty much Baz in a nutshell for me.